Out of high school, I just knew the next step was I got to get to college. It seemed like the American dream, and I saw a movie and read a book that kind of changed my life there a little bit, To Kill a Mockingbird. And I decided I want to be a real life Atticus Finch. And I hope I've lived up to Harper Lee's expectations.
I always thought that I was going to be a great trial lawyer. Because everybody say, Stu, you talk a lot. Maybe you'd be a good lawyer. I look at Tulsa as a huge community with open arms. Hey, they took a kid in, 22 years old, educated him, introduced him to ideas, concepts, and industry that I knew nothing about. But again, those arms were wide open and the people were open.
Quiet on the set. I've always wanted to say that. Well, I started off as a child, but I essentially grew up in Brookside for a few years, and we moved north. It was going to be a middle-class paradise back in the 50s. And indeed it was pretty much a Norman Rockwell painting come to life, North Tulsa. What I learned from it all was you got to give your kids roots and wings. And my mom and dad said, we never went to college. They knew that they didn't go to college, couldn't afford it, couldn't do it, but they wanted their 3 sons to go to college. So I knew I had no choice. Got to go to college. So I'm at Tulsa University, but every part-time job you can imagine I had along the way, including driving a forklift at McKessick Products, where I almost killed myself and other people around me. It's kind of hard to drive a forklift, for those that know. I was Santa Claus at Sears. I was pretty good at that. Ho, ho, ho. In any event, I finally got my college degree, and I wasn't a straight A student either. So to have your name up there on the courtroom at the law school you started at, as a non-straight A student is even a bigger deal. But I worked hard, and I got a law degree.
University of Tulsa was there and helped him. I think it was a home for him, and they recognized his ability, his leadership abilities, and give this kid from North Tulsa an opportunity to become who and what he is today. I think is just unimaginable. I think life's written in chapters, and Mike was really on the treadmill of life to be a public servant, being district attorney, attorney general.
So in a way, I spent half my life trying to put people in jail as a fierce prosecutor, firm but fair, I want to believe. I spent the other half, frankly, trying to keep people out of jail, trying to salvage people's lives along the way. And my first cause, raising money for something besides a political pursuit, was right here in this theater, to save this 1935 movie theater from the wrecking ball. They almost leveled this place, but we saved it. We saved it.
Well, when I was in the legislature years and years and years ago, 2 of those years Mike Turpen was Attorney General. He always had a kind word. He always had encouragement for me when I'd be in meetings with him or would encounter him. So I remember that, and it meant a lot to me at the time.
Mike's one of the greatest men I've ever met, who's done some of the greatest things I've ever seen. He can work hard. He's up early. He stays late. He's not afraid to talk to anybody, and he's been with presidents and prime ministers and attorneys and senators and congressmen and the people who run the world. And he's on that scale and that level, and they respect him. Some people call Susan Turpen and Mike Turpen a power couple. We call them friends.
Well, to me, what gets me up in the morning is doing everything I can for my family. You know, what else can I do to be a good parent? But in the community, it's another good cause to somehow improve the quality of life, to use your God-given talent to improve the quality of life of other people. That inspires me. That motivates me. It gets me up in the morning. And I'm just destined to keep doing that, I do believe.
You know, I grew up in Denver, one of 5 kids, mother and father, hardworking folks. My father never made more than $5 an hour. He worked as a warehouse worker, and he told the 5 kids that they were going to get an education. I don't think I'd even set foot in Tulsa. Hey, they took a kid in, 22 years old, educated him, introduced him to ideas, concepts, and industry.
It was fun to come to a new place. Neither of us had ever been here, and I remember stepping off the airplane in August and wondering what I was doing. We didn't have a car, we walked to school, we took the bus downtown to work the jobs that we were able to get. But it was just a fun, you know what, when you're in love, everything's fun. And, you know, that really was the beginning.
George Kaiser bought my first oil deal. He ended up drilling a well that was successful. We had an interest in it. So that was a great moment. We used a lot of the things that I learned at TU Law School. I had a great professor named Dobie Langenkamp who really unleashed my excitement about the oil and gas industry. And that was just, sitting in a 2-credit classroom on federal lands, but he knew about oil and gas. It's a great community that allows people to have dreams, act on their dreams. And I think just by setting goals and dreams and opportunities, I like to set the bar high. And I kind of look at myself as a coach and a motivator. I'm sure my kids think I motivate way too much.
My dad, if you can imagine, was very animated at all of the sporting events. And it's kind of how he is as a person. And he works so hard and he gives back to everyone and would do anything for anyone who asked for his help.
He grew up with very little, and education is something that he never took for granted. He wanted every student to have a chance at education, whether they could afford it or not. 10 years ago, he started a program called Tulsa Achieves that gives everybody in Tulsa County with a 2.0 or higher free education to Tulsa Community College. He has given us opportunities that not many people can have.
I heard him say once that he thinks everybody should have a shot. And I think he's enough of a realist to understand that education makes the difference. And I think that's just a reflection of actually who he is as well.
We encourage each other. We inspire each other. We give advice to each other. The one guy that's always been here with me, for my family, through thick and thin, through all that, winning and losing, has been Stuart Price and Linda Price and their family.
TU Law instills in our students a responsibility to give back, to be a community leader, to create programs that help the greater community. Choosing Mike and Stuart, that was an easy decision. Both of them are so accomplished, and the two of them together, I think, is a very fitting tribute. In fact, our moot court room here at the College of Law is the Price-Turpen moot court room.
The culmination of our collaboration together, Stuart and I, and all the things we've done together, the Price-Turpen courtroom.
That was real special to have your name up there for, I guess, eternity.
Stuart is so proud of the courtroom that is named after him and Mike Turpen.
We were all there for the unveiling of it, and he was so proud of it.
One of the things that a law degree gives you is you don't just have a job. You have a career, and you get to create that career to be whatever you want it to be. And both Stuart and Mike are people who have taken that degree and just run with it and made their career, their lives, just this incredible, fascinating, empowering experience.